I just got in the mail this week a nice box from Canada, from Quebec. This is from David Santosh Jian, or Jean. I'm not sure his French. I can't speak French, so forgive me if I didn't pronounce that correctly. You can find him on Instagram, Santosh Weapons, Santosh_weapons, and also on Facebook. He is, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting this open. He's like many of the people doing this kind of work. He's just a one-off craftsman, works by himself. So he doesn't take a lot of big orders, doesn't have a website. You just email him or message him, and he'll tell him what you need. He'll work with you and make a sword for you. This one, there we go, is, get rid of that. Quite nice. This one is made of hickory. Came out to be 780 grams. That's a nice weight. It's not a full weight, or you could say it's on the low end side. I think 750 is about the lowest you're going to find a sword. If it is 750 to 780, it's probably been polished a bunch of times. It was probably at least 850 grams or so in its, when it was originally born from the forge. But I think this kind of weight, 780 to 800 grams, that, okay, you take that in your hand, it doesn't feel too heavy. First thing in the morning, it really feel light. If you're coming to one of my all-day seminars and you're doing 6 hours of sword work every day, sometimes with a nice Friday night warm-up, a couple hours, this is the weight sword you're going to want because it's still historically accurate weight, albeit on the very low end of the spectrum. But all day, if you have a 1 kilo Jian, you're just not going to make it through the day. Arm's going to wear out. So this is quite nice. And this one is 30 inches, 76 centimeters. So that's also very typical length. Even 29 and a half, a centimeter or so shorter is really common. Quick first impression is very nice. Nicely rounded here. So this is good because it, some people like to make it beveled so it looks more like a sword, right? It looks like it has edges. That's not good for our sword play because that edge then is very thin, and a lot of times we're practicing essentially naked, as we say. I'm just have my t-shirt or just my jacket on, and you're getting hit a lot. Maybe get hit on the fingers. That can make you into a really good swordsman because pain's a good teacher. You learn to deflect instead of take a hit. You're not trading blows when you're all padded up. So training with someone with good control, you both can do that. You take your bruises and you'll learn quickly. So I think this is really good. The width here is quite nice. That looks good. Likewise with a rounded tip, right? If you're getting hit, that's going to give you a bruise, but if it's too pointy, it looks nicer, but that might pierce the skin sometimes or give you a really nasty bruise. So from that point of view, looks really good and sturdy. This is kind of interesting. It's one thing I probably would suggest he changes. You have a nice counterbalance weight here, so don't have to make this too long. This is nice. You can switch up to the two-handed grip, which some systems do. We do that in our system when we deliver a door, right? We take it by the pommel or two-handed grip, so that's a nice length. But that's about as long as you're going to find a single-handed Jian grip, and he's keeping that right by putting a nice some metal weight here. I'd probably cover that. I was just him just. It probably add a little bit to the cost. He's got a veneer here, right, to make the guard thicker. I would probably suggest, just for cosmetic reasons, it's really good functionally, not a problem, but for cosmetic reasons, I'd probably put a little panel over that. This is really good. This is important because sometimes people will make the guard, you could say that's much thicker than historically accurate guards. Yes, that's the case, but this is also a much thicker blade. So if we made this guard about as thick as the blade would be about the common thickness you'd see, any piece on a Qing or Ming period piece, then sometimes it can slide down. So here this is good, just that little bit. Oh, it's not even a centimeter, probably just shy of a centimeter there. That's a good, tend to bounce off of that instead of slide into your hand. So that's really good. So everything I'm seeing looks really nice. Grip feels good. And I really like this. Of course, he did this for me. and thank you to David for that. That's the shape of my cutting jian. So I think that's really nice. That's a style you saw in the Ming period, also in the Qing, but goes back to the Ming. Has that Taotie lion's head shape, but it has this little cutout in it that's not, you see it now and then. It's not super common, not uncommon, but I like it. Adds a little bit of style, and very nice of him to do that for me, so it mimics my cutting jian. This is hickory, like I said, it's hickory, so I don't see how it would have any problem standing up to, taking a good beating. Of course, I'll play with it, get some nice sword play, and we'll see, but I don't think, if it were to break, I wouldn't put that on David. I'd say it's just a bad piece of wood. Sometimes a sword will break because it has internal flaws that can't be seen. But hickory should be good and solid. Let's take a look at the balance. Feels good. I think it feels good. This one, he also, I know, before he made this sword, he asked me different things about points of balance and so on, and he actually purchased one of my cutting jian, so he'd have a good example of a proper weight. And I say this is really nice. It's on, it's nice and lively. This example, of course, at 780, it's going to be a very lively blade, 780 grams versus, already I'm going to be able to move it a little more quickly than my cutting jian is. My personal one, I think, is about 980, just shy of a kilo. So I can move it as if it's first thing in the morning and I'm ready to go, I can move it this way, my cutting jian, my steel sword. But after all day, I probably would start slowing down. This feels the same. This one's slightly less tip, I want to say tip heavy, tip oriented. Cutting jian, of course, is designed to be a good cutter. Every jian, historically speaking, it's not always exactly at a certain point. There's a little, some are a little bit more toward the tip, a little bit more toward the guard. This one is right in here. It's perfectly balanced. This is spot on, historically speaking. But this one, compared to my cutting jian, just a little bit toward the guard. But that's fine. It's perfectly correct. And I said it feels quite nice. I can move it very nicely. But I can feel like, yes, I can give it a good solid hit. If I'm getting a nice sword play with somebody, I give them a nice hit. They're going to know, yeah, that was a good solid hit. You had that one. So overall, I'd say this is definitely a recommended buy for those looking for swords. He's in Quebec, up in Canada. So for those people in the Americas, it's a little closer than the makers that are in Europe. And this one came out to be in US dollars, $108, of course, plus shipping. And if you get it together, shipping these days is about $25 or so. Shipping has really gone up these days. But I'd also say, if you have a local group, get a few people together, do your order at once, you probably get it down about $10, $15 a pop. Shipping like 4 or 5 together is a lot cheaper per sword. So anyway, overall, really good. Definitely recommend it. We'll give it a go in class, in some free sword play. Put it through its paces. You'll see it, no doubt. I'll bring it with me to seminars so people can have a first-hand look at it. And I also definitely recommend the cool Scott Rodell cutting jian guard. So I like that. All right. Any questions?
Could you post his contact information?
Yes.
On the...
I will definitely post, we'll probably post up this video. I will definitely share the contact info for him, for David's Instagram, and he just created a new Facebook page. So we'll put that all up, put that on our Academy's Facebook page. I'll put it up on my Instagram and every place else I can think of. So I'll have the links to them, but it's Santosh _weapons, SANTOSH _weapons. He does sometimes put the 2 dots over the O. Again, I don't speak French, so I'm probably not pronouncing that properly, but I think he does not use that when it's on either Instagram or on Facebook, because who knows, what key is it that you use that? I don't know. So anyway, but yes, I'll put up all his contact info on our forum, Facebook, all those kind of places. Anyone else have a question? I'd also recommend, if you're placing an order, it's a really good idea to get several swords. If you don't already have a couple, you might want one that is, say this one was 780. You might want one that's 31 inches. This is 30, so like 80 centimeters. That weighs either this weight or maybe 850 to 900. That's your morning workout sword, right? That'll help you build strength. You have one, say, in this range for a good all-day kind of training, and also very useful to get one, and it could be up at 900 grams. That's like 25 inches, short blade. Can be a little heavier, can even be a full kilo, but that's nice for when you're training and it, either you're in a place that you don't have as much space, you want a good, good well-weighted sword. It's good to have one. 25 inches is definitely a realistic length that you saw people carry for everyday carry. Short, nice short Jian, so that's really nice for training indoors. And also, I also find if I've been off teaching, I've been away a couple weeks maybe, and I come back and I want to train, but my arm really like to have a couple days off, I train with my short sword. It's not so much torque, it's easier to control. It's not quite as heavy, it doesn't feel as heavy, even though my short sword is actually heavier than my longer swords. So I would recommend, it's a good idea, just get them all at once. When you're ordering your swords, it's a little cheaper and you have them. So, all right, if there's any other questions before we take a break? Great, thank you everybody. Stay strong. 再见.